He was called the King of Pop, loved by millions, but behind the fame there was pain, loneliness, and a life full of secrets. This is not just the story of a superstar. This is the real story of Michael Jackson, the boy who moonwalked through the world but struggled to find peace in his own heart. Michael Jackson's story. From Gary to Glory. Michael Jackson was born on August 29, 1958, in a small town called Gary, in the state of Indiana, USA. He was the 8th of 10 children in the Jackson family. His father, Joseph Jackson, worked in a steel mill, and his mother, Catherine, took care of the children and loved music. Their home was small, and the family was poor. But one thing was always present in their house: music. Joseph Jackson believed that music could be the way out of poverty. He formed a group with 5 of his sons, including young Michael. They called it the Jackson 5. Michael was just 5 years old, but he had something special. He didn't just sing, he felt the music. His voice was powerful and full of emotion, even at that young age. His dance moves were sharp and full of energy. Joseph saw that Michael was a star. Michael's childhood was not like other kids. While others played outside, he was practicing music. His father was strict and sometimes harsh. If the boys made mistakes during rehearsal, he would shout or punish them. Michael later said he was afraid of his father. But even though it was hard, all that practice made him great. By the time Michael was 10, the Jackson 5 was performing in clubs and talent shows. People loved their performances. In 1969, they got their big break when they signed a contract with Motown Records, a famous music company. The Jackson 5 quickly became a sensation. Their first single, I Want You Back, went straight to #1 on the charts. Then came ABC, The Love You Save, and I'll Be There. One after another, the hits kept coming. Michael became the lead singer and the face of the group. His voice was bright and emotional, and people around the world fell in love with it. The Jackson 5 became so famous that they appeared on TV shows and toured across America and even other countries. Young fans screamed when they saw them. Michael, just a child, was now a superstar. But fame had a price. Michael often said he missed his childhood. He didn't go to regular school. He didn't have many friends. He spent most of his time traveling, performing, and working. He felt lonely. Even though millions loved him, he felt like no one really understood him. In the 1970s, as he grew older, Michael started to want something more. He didn't want to just be part of the Jackson 5. He wanted to sing his own songs and create his own music. He started thinking about a solo career. In 1979, he released his first big solo album called Off the Wall. It had songs like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You. The album was a success. It showed the world that Michael Jackson was more than just a child star. He was becoming a music icon. But he was not done yet. Michael wanted to make history. In 1982, Michael Jackson released an album that would make history. Thriller. No one could have imagined how big it would become. The album was full of amazing songs like Billie Jean, Beat It, and of course, Thriller. The music was fresh. The beats were powerful. And Michael's voice. Unforgettable. But Thriller was not just about the music. Michael wanted to do something no one had done before. He made music videos that were like short movies. The Thriller video was over 13 minutes long. It had dancing zombies, a spooky story, and one of the most iconic dance moves ever. People had never seen anything like it. Michael changed music videos forever. Thriller became the best-selling album of all time. More than 70 million copies were sold around the world. Everyone, from kids to grandparents, was talking about Michael Jackson. He was on every TV, every magazine cover, and every radio station. He wasn't just a star. He was a global legend. People started calling him the King of Pop. But behind the fame, Michael was changing. He was no longer the little boy from Gary, Indiana. His skin color started to get lighter. People were confused. Rumors spread. Some said he was bleaching his skin. Others said he wanted to be white. But later, Michael revealed the truth. He had a skin condition called vitiligo. It caused his skin to lose color in patches. He wore makeup to even out his skin tone. But the media didn't care. They kept making fun of him. They called him strange names like Wacko Jacko. It hurt him deeply. Even though he was the biggest star in the world, Michael felt more alone than ever. He lived in a huge house called Neverland Ranch. It had rides, animals, and even a movie theater. It was like a dreamland. But it was also a way for Michael to escape the real world. He invited sick children to visit and tried to give them joy. He said he never had a childhood, so he wanted to create one now. He played with children, laughed with them, and treated them like his own family. But not everyone understood. Some people thought it was strange. Some even said it was wrong. Michael didn't know how to act like a regular adult. He was famous since he was 5. His life had always been different. All he wanted was love and friendship. In 1987, Michael released another huge album, Bad. It had hits like Smooth Criminal, Man in the Mirror, and The Way You Make Me Feel. He broke records again. His concerts were packed. Fans cried and fainted when they saw him. He danced like no one else. He moonwalked across stages and lit up every city he performed in. But inside, Michael was struggling. He didn't trust many people. He had body image issues. He had multiple plastic surgeries, especially on his nose. He said it was because he had trouble breathing and didn't like how he looked. The media kept judging his face, his voice, and even his lifestyle. He said he was misunderstood. He didn't want to hurt anyone. He just wanted peace. Michael also cared deeply about the world. In 1991, he released Heal the World and Black or White, songs that spoke about unity, love, and justice. He gave millions to charity. He visited orphanages, hospitals, and war zones. But most of this was not shown in the news. People focused more on rumors than on his kindness. In 1993, Michael was invited to perform at the Super Bowl halftime show. It became one of the most watched performances in TV history. When he stood still on stage for over a minute, without saying a word, the crowd screamed louder and louder. It was pure magic. That moment proved Michael wasn't just a performer. He was a force of nature. But that same year, something happened that changed his life forever. A 13-year-old boy accused Michael of something terrible: child abuse. The news shocked the world. Michael denied it completely. He said the accusations were false. He said it was an attempt to destroy his image and take money from him. The case never went to trial. Michael settled the case out of court. But the damage was done. People started to doubt him. Sponsors pulled away. The media attacked him even more. Michael felt like the world had turned its back on him. He began to disappear from the public eye. He lost weight. He looked tired. He said he was heartbroken. "I would never hurt a child," he said in a TV interview. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Many fans still believed him. But others were not sure. Still, Michael didn't give up. He continued making music. In 1995, he released History, which included new songs like They Don't Care About Us and You Are Not Alone. The songs were personal. They were emotional. Michael was pouring out his pain and his truth. He married Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of Elvis Presley, in 1994. The marriage surprised everyone. Some thought it was a publicity stunt. But Michael said they truly loved each other. The marriage didn't last long. They divorced after 2 years. In 1996, he married Debbie Rowe, a nurse who worked for his doctor. They had 2 children, Prince and Paris. Michael loved his children deeply. He said they gave him a reason to live. Later, he had a 3rd child, Blanket, through a surrogate. By the late 1990s, Michael was no longer topping the charts like before. New artists had taken the spotlight. But to his fans, he was still the king. He had already done more than any artist ever had. He had changed music, dance, fashion, and culture. But his story wasn't over yet. There was still one more chapter to write. By the early 2000s, Michael Jackson's life had become even more complicated. He was still one of the most famous people in the world, but his image had changed. He wasn't just known for his music anymore. He was also surrounded by rumors, legal battles, and questions about his personal life. In 2003, another serious accusation came. Once again, he was accused of hurting a child. This time he was taken to court. The trial was long, painful, and watched by millions around the world. Michael always said he was innocent. He looked tired, thin, and broken. In 2005, after months of court hearings and media pressure, the jury found him not guilty on all charges. Michael broke down in tears. But even though he was free, something inside him had changed forever. He became more private. He left the United States and traveled to places like Bahrain and Ireland, trying to find peace. His finances were in trouble. He had spent a lot of money on Neverland, art, clothes, security, and legal fees. He had to sell many of his belongings. At one point, he even lost ownership of Neverland Ranch, his dream home. But Michael wasn't ready to give up. In 2009, something incredible happened. Michael announced that he was coming back. He said he would do a series of concerts in London called This Is It. He promised the show would be the best of his career. Tickets sold out in just minutes. Fans around the world were excited. Michael was going to moonwalk again. He began rehearsing day and night. People who worked with him said he was focused and full of energy. He wanted everything to be perfect. Every note, every move, every light. He worked hard even though he looked thin and weak. He wanted to show the world that he still had it. But behind the scenes there were problems. Michael was having trouble sleeping. He suffered from anxiety and pain. To help him rest, he started taking strong medicines. One of those was propofol, a drug normally used in hospitals during surgeries. It was not meant to be used at home. But Michael trusted his doctor, Conrad Murray, who gave him the drug almost every night. On June 25, 2009, the world was shocked. Michael Jackson was found unconscious in his home in Los Angeles. His heart had stopped. Paramedics tried to save him. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, was gone. He was only 50 years old. The news broke hearts around the globe. People cried in the streets. Fans gathered outside his home, hospitals, and music stores. Tributes poured in from every country. TV channels played his music non-stop. People remembered his smile, his voice, his moonwalk, and his message of love. A public memorial was held at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Millions watched it live. His daughter Paris stood on stage and said through tears, "Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine." The world wept with her. After an investigation, it was found that Michael had died from a drug overdose. His doctor, Conrad Murray, was later found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Many fans felt angry. They believed Michael had been failed by those around him. He had given the world so much, but in the end, he didn't receive the care he needed. Even in death, Michael's influence didn't stop. His music still plays everywhere. His albums continue to sell. Young dancers still try to master the moonwalk. Artists from every genre name him as their biggest inspiration. He broke racial barriers in the music industry. He opened doors for many. He taught people to dream big, to care about the planet, and to believe in magic. But more than anything, Michael Jackson was a human being. He was a boy who never had a real childhood. A man who gave everything to make people happy. A soul who felt deep pain, but still chose to sing songs of love and hope. He was complicated. He made mistakes. He was misunderstood. But he also changed the world with his voice, his heart, and his art. Michael once said, "If you enter this world knowing you are loved, and you leave this world knowing the same, then everything that happens in between can be dealt with." And even though he's no longer here, millions still love him, and always will. Michael Jackson is gone, but his music, his legacy, and his message live on. He was more than the king of pop. He was one of a kind.